April is Autism Awareness Month, and if you don't have an autistic child, chances are you know someone who does. New statistics show 1 in 110 children in the United States is on the autism spectrum, which makes raising awareness about autism more important than ever. Joining us for Early Coffee this morning is Robinson Peete and Rodney Peete, who know very well about the challenges of raising a child with autism. Their 12-year-old son, RJ, is autistic. RJ's mom, Holly, and his twin sister, Ryan, Elizabeth, co-wrote the children's book, My Brother Charlie. RJ's dad, former NFL quarterback Rodney, is the author of Not My Boy. Holly and Rodney, it's so great to have you here.
We've been busy, huh?
Yes, you have. My goodness, these new books. On top of that, you're competing on The Celebrity Apprentice. You've been busy, but this is really nothing new for you. You have been busy most of your lives in raising your 4 children, and in particular, RJ, who you say that at the age of about 2, Holly, you started to notice some different characteristics.
Yeah, there was a needle on the record moment, if you will, where he stopped connecting with us, stopped talking to us and looking at us. And so we saw that and we're like, what is going on? And so it took a year to get the diagnosis. And I walked around a little bitter about that because that's a year of intervention that we missed out on. So we encourage, if you see signs, get on it. Don't be scared of what you'll find.
But finding out about autism is still a hard thing to do. But on top of that, it's an expensive thing to do, Rodney.
Oh, it's so expensive. And we were fortunate to have 2 careers. I was playing in the NFL and she was on TV. But when you start to add up the cost, it gets really almost impossible to really afford. And so that's what we're advocating for, because we know what it takes.
Parents in your situation who are out there, who are listening to this, who may notice characteristics in their children, what's your advice to them? What should they be thinking about? What should they be doing right now?
Well, you shouldn't hesitate. I think that Holly mentioned the fact that if there are signs, get your son or daughter checked out. I mean, we were lucky enough to have early intervention. We've been working with our son since he was 2.5, 3 years old, and we're lucky now that he's mainstreaming in school. He's playing in organized sports. He's doing a lot of things that early on our doctor said he would never, ever do. And so we're lucky in that respect, but early intervention is the key.
And you've written about that, the fact that the doctor came to you, said he couldn't play sports, said he wouldn't be able to say, I love you to you. Yeah. That must have been heartbreaking.
It was terribly heartbreaking, but that's one of the reasons why, along with my daughter Ryan, we wrote My Brother Charlie, because we wanted to, which she was so cute as his twin sister, she advocated for him and said, look, you know what, he did get on my nerves, he did ruin a lot of play dates, but he's a really cool kid if you get to know him. So it's important to talk early to children about autism and promote autism acceptance and awareness, because they're really exceptional human beings.
Absolutely, and both of you writing books, you writing with your daughter, that must have sort of been therapeutic for you. Was there anything in both of your experiences?
Why do you laugh? Because when I read some of Rodney's book earlier, I was like, wow, I sounded like such a, well, the B word with itch.
You know, but that's what, coming to that point, that's one of the issues that parents raising children with autism face. There is a very high, unfortunately, divorce rate, much higher than the average is for parents who are dealing with children. How did you stay strong for each other?
Wow, I mean, it was her.
And I like to say it was him.
I was stuck in denial for a period of time. I really was, and I talk about that in my book, of just being that father and that man that wanted to fix my son and really didn't pay attention to the signs or pay attention to the education that I needed in order to communicate with him. And so for a period of time, we didn't connect. And she was rolling up her sleeves. She was reading every book. She was talking to families. She was talking to doctors. And she was sending me books, and I'd throw them under my bed and not read them. And it came to a point where I really had to almost get embarrassed by the treatment that was given to him, and understand that I needed to really put away all my expectations, really come down to his level and understand what autism is.
But I was fortunate that Rodney was willing to sit down with a therapist and talk openly about tweaking these expectations. It's tough. Guys process things differently. Dads process autism differently. I went on the warpath, and he, sort of retreated. And so we're really blessed that we were able to meet in the middle. And I think Rodney's book, Not My Boy, is going to be very helpful to families and keep it and staying together, because I needed him to get through this.
I know we have limited time together, but one last question. In terms of the information out there that you've come across in researching your books and also in understanding what RJ is going through, what would you say is the most surprising thing you've come across? And then we'll get to you, Rodney.
The most surprising thing is how present people with autism are. Even if they're nonverbal, they're there, they can hear you, they're not deaf, and they're around. And also just how amazing and extraordinary they are and how we need to value them in society.
Yeah, they're amazing kids. I think that sometimes, and we spoke to children in RJ's class, the fourth graders, and really figured out what their strengths and weaknesses are. And just like any typical kid, they have strengths and have weaknesses, just like our son. So I think that's the most important thing, is really value these kids as human beings.
And how far has RJ come? How's he doing today?
He's doing great. He's hit all the milestones. They said he would never be verbal. We're so blessed that he is. And a lot of parents don't get to experience that. However, puberty is hitting, and that's hard for a typical kid, but for children with autism, it's especially difficult.
All right. Well, I'm so happy to hear from both of you on this very important issue. Thank you so much for taking the time. Holly and Rodney, thank you. And if you'd like to see more of the interview, head to our website, cbsnews.com/Saturday.
A lot happens early on The Early Show, weekday mornings on CBS.